there were a couple of other things that we did. We also instituted a interdepartmental debate competition amongst departments in university. But the one that was very, very significant and recognizable at the time was the cleanup exercise we were doing once every month in the university. So that was really good, and the university recognized us for that effort.
Okay, now after being a student, you moved on to the local organization,
Yes.
and you joined JCI Trans Amati.
Yes, that's my current local chapter.
Yeah, and during that time, what were coming into this local organization? What was the things that you addressed during that time?
Now, when I joined JCI Trans Mali in March 2003,
Yeah,
they only had 9 members.
9 members, so it's a small chapter.
They're small, yes. They were in existence from 2000,
Okay.
and just 3 years down the line, they already lost a lot of members. They had only 9 members.
Okay.
So I joined in March 2003, and in June 2003, they appointed me vice president of the local chapter because I had some experience coming from the university. Okay, and then the next year in 2004, I became the local president.
Okay.
And that year, we grew the membership to 49.
So during the time that you were in your organization, you wanted a growth of membership in your organization.
Yes, and something was very helpful because while I was in the university, I traveled around universities in Nigeria. And I had a lot of friends who were JCI members. I had a lot of other JCI members who were students. So when I graduated and started working in the city, I also still had contact with some of the members who were with me in the university. So it was easy for me to reconnect with them and bring them to join the local chapter. So in just less than 1 year, I grew the membership from 9 to about 49. So we had additional 40 members within 1 year. And since then, we have continued to grow, in leaps and bounds. And I'm proud to say it's one of the most outstanding local chapters in my country today.
That sounds great. And of course, once they got in the organization, those 49 members, what were the initial projects that they did? Especially when you were a president.
A lot. We had a couple of initiatives. One of them was what we call Educate a Child. And we had a project where we identified some orphanages where children who had no parents were being taken care of.
Okay.
And then we go there, we could adopt 1, 2, or 3, or maximum of 5 children. And we paid their way through primary education and all of that to support them. So sometimes 2, 3 members of the group can adopt a child, or the whole chapter can adopt a child, and then be able to sponsor that child through primary education. So that's a project we started that was very, very close to our hearts because we believe there was need to give young people who wanted to go to school the opportunity to go to school, even when they didn't have the finances and the funds to be able to do that. So we adopted that project and we continue to do it. Of course, the other part was the charity thing that we go 2 or 3 times in a year to a couple of orphanages to donate materials. It could be food materials, it could be clothing materials, it could be toys for the children to support them, just to make sure that even though they had no parents, that there was something that could put smiles in their faces. And also sometimes supported the orphanages financially to be sure they're able to take care of the kids. We also had a couple of partnerships, where we ran campaign during elections, in the state where the chapter existed. The need for people to have peaceful elections, because at some point we were having elections that were very controversial, violent field elections. So we took up responsibility as civic,
the peacemakers.
Yes, to campaign and ask those who were involved in elections to go about it peacefully, and also to advise young people that on no condition should you put your life on the line for a politician. Of course, you can campaign for a politician, of course, you can work for a politician, but the life of any child or any young person is not worth the ambition of any politician. So we also carry out such campaigns. In addition to partnership that we had with other nonprofits, we also had what we called inter-secondary school debate competition, where we seated debate competition among secondary schools within the locality where my local chapter existed. So we wanted to raise the competitive spirit of the young people who were in secondary schools, not unnecessary competition, but competition that will bring the best out of them, to understand that they can join conversations about discussing the most topical issues in the city and around us, and begin to be aware of what those issues are. So as they grow up, they already understand what the issues in the community and the city is, and they can actually be part of the conversation discussions and try to find a solution to that. So those were just a couple of things that we did at the time in the city where my local chapter existed.
And I think that a good advice to a local president in the Philippines is, how do you retain and keep your members active?
Well, young people are usually interested in varieties. Varieties are main. They don't like something that is monotonous. Okay, they join a local chapter. It's something they see all the time. You need to be creative. You need to be innovative to ensure that you keep the activities of your local chapter, continually attractive to young people. We realized at some point that sometimes people get into the organization, and when they find no attraction anymore, they walk away. And when they realize that probably there's nothing in the activities that addresses their personal needs and concerns, they also take a walk. So we started two things, and that was to do a survey every month to ask our members what they would want us to talk about in the next meeting. Because usually we bring speakers or trainers to come to our monthly meetings, and we wanted to make sure that we just didn't bring any speaker or trainer. We wanted to bring someone who will speak on a topic or an issue that majority of members will be very interested in. So we send out the surveys, and then we'll get responses back. Based on majority opinion, we look for speakers who will address those areas, and we bring them in. And we use those speakers on the topic to actually promote the meeting. And that bring members, to the meeting. That was one. The other thing we did was halfway through every meeting, we go into what we call the happy hour, where we break the formal meeting and go into something that's very informal, where members will sit in a relaxed environment to ask questions about what you do, who you are, your background, chat freely and all of that. And members look forward to those two activities, and we use that actually to continue to attract members and keep them going. And so every month they were very expectant. They were looking forward to the meetings because they knew that it was going to be very interesting. Business level also from the field, but more importantly, the variety of things that could happen, and that continually, kept their interest and attracted them to the local chapter.
And that was just the first part of our exclusive interview with World President Pascal DZEC. When we return, we will have part 2 of the interview right here on JCI Radio Philippines.
EBC, Eagle Broadcasting Corporation. Ito ang Radyo
Ang oras sa buong Pilipinas, 6:25 ng gabi.
Ilang paalala mula kay Secretary Janet Petillo Loreto Garin ng Department of Health.
Ina ang sentro ng kalusugan ng pamilya. Sa usaping kahirapan, planadong pamilya ay kailangan. Sa pagbubuntis, dapat magpa-prenatal sa loob ng unang 3 buwan. Mami, mag-breastfeed para sa nutrisyon ni baby at maagang pagbalik ng iyong katawan. Daddy, mahalaga ang papel mo sa lahat ng ito. Sama-sama nating itaguyod ang kalusugang pangkalahatan.
We're back on air with Ernest Hernandez on JCI Radio Philippines. We are back here on JCI Radio Philippines, everything and anything about the Junior Chamber International. And here it is, the second part of our exclusive interview with World President Pascal DZEC.
Good day, Mr. World President Pascal DZEC.
Very good day to you. Thank you.
And thank you very much for gracing us with the time here on JCI Radio Philippines. And of course, I suppose this is the first time that you've been here in the Philippines. How was your trip so far?
Yeah, it's my first time in the Philippines. And before I came, usually, before you go to every country, you have some premonitions or some thoughts about the country. But I would like to say that what I have seen here is much better, positively, than what I had thought about and what I had learned before coming to the Philippines. So I am impressed with what I have seen.
What were the thoughts that you were coming here in the Philippines? What was your first impressions of the organization here?
Organization is one thing, the entire country is another. Of course, the Philippines is a developing country, and just like my country also is. And sometimes you read about some of the challenges, in local communities, and you think that that's the same thing everywhere. But arriving here in Manila and having had the opportunity to travel to Cagayan and Cebu, I've come to realize that it's much better. There's some good level of development infrastructurally. The people are very warm and welcoming. And those are the things. And in terms of the JCI in the Philippines, I think you're doing more things than I had thought about in terms of projects. And I think you have more visibility than I had imagined, even though there's still room for us to have more visibility. But yeah, these are the positives that I can talk about at the moment.
And during your stay in Cagayan and Cebu, you had some projects. Can you tell us the experience there?
Wonderful projects. We are active citizens, and as JCI members, our mission is very clear: to provide development opportunities that empower young people to create positive change. It means we provide necessary skills, knowledge, the trainings that will give our members the capacity necessary to transform themselves and also transform the community. And for me, I think projects that we run in local communities are the most important. So the project that we had in Kawayan was a very, very good one. It's a water project where the JCI members in Kawayan Bamboo with JCI Manila jointly provided a water project that will serve the school.
I believe we have some technical difficulties with the file, so let's talk about a little bit more about World President Pascal Dica. So there's some interesting facts about World President Pascal Dica. So he holds a master's degree in industrial microbiology and has worked in entertainment, investigation, fire safety, and security systems. He is also a public speaker and coach. In fact, you were able to attend one of his seminars.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah, we were.
You were able to attend one of his seminars, I believe.
Yes. Hello.
Yeah. You were able to attend one of his seminars during.
Okay, audio ko. Yung audio ko, okay. Hello.
Anyway, he was able to do some public speaking as well. So aside from that, he was able to win several awards locally, nationally, and internationally for his great contributions to the development and growth of the organizations. And of course, Senator Pascal Dique is happily married with 3 lovely children. So he's also an accomplished family man. And actually, he was able to talk during the forum that he's able to find ways to balance his family life and at the same time becoming world president. I believe one of the happy stories of him becoming world president is that he was able to seek approval from his wife, and he was able to get the thumbs up from his wife, who is also a JCI member. Anyway, without further ado, here's the second part of the interview with World President Pascal Dique.
About 32 young people, 29 boys, as I call them at the time, and 3 girls who were undergraduates of the university, to step up, take responsibility, go talk to the political leaders, religious leaders, traditional leaders, and took up responsibility, to ensuring that the town was brought back together and we could do things together. At the time, we were considered very young to do it. Some people thought it was very dangerous to venture into.
Because you're going against.
Yes, to venture into something that some religious, political leaders could not solve. What elders could not resolve. And then you thought young people who were at the time all under 21 or 22 wanted to solve. But we were able to prove to the world that it's not about how old you are. It's about your determination.
Okay.
It's about how much of ownership you have taken about the challenge. It's about how much you understand that you are part of that community where the problem exists. And if you do nothing about it,
and it takes a lot of patience. But when you're talking about peace is possible, of course, there's that temptation to go to the other side, which is peace is not possible. Yes. So a lot of people have this difficulty on keeping their peace in their minds, in their hearts. So what would you advise to people to maintain their peace in their lives?
Very correct. Peace is not necessarily the absence of war conflict. Peace also has to do with respect. It has to do with tolerance. It has to do with understanding. It has to do with compromise. It has to do with equality. Peace has to do with ensuring that people have opportunities, whether they want to go to school, whether they want food, whether they want to live their fullest potential, education, whatever you talk about. Having access to that makes life more sustainable, more prosperous, is what peace is about. And the peace has to start with you as a person. For someone who is very hungry, who cannot find food, and every day thinks about what he or she is going to eat next, such a person cannot be described as having peace of mind. Because every time you're in trouble, you're thinking about what you're going to eat next. So the peace has to start with you. And beyond that, also, those who know you, your friends, your colleagues, your neighbors, must see you as a peaceful person. So beyond professing peace, it's not about just the things you say, it's about who you are, what you represent, and how people perceive and see you. So peace starts from home. And that's why I said it also has to start from the family, because even when a man, a woman, or husband and wife, if you like, live together, they could be smiling outside, but what the question is, how do they live inside?
Okay.
Start there. You cannot be talking about peace in the community when you're home, you do not have peace. You have to move from yourself to the family, to the community, and it transcend to the city, the country, before it took peace in the world. So one of the things that this campaign tends to achieve is to continue to encourage JCI members around the world and young people and all those who have one thing or the other in the community to understand that for each time we'll solve an existing problem in the community, in the city, in the country, is a contribution towards peace. A typical example, like I said, is let's take unemployment, for example. If you have thousands and thousands of young people who are unemployed in a particular city, and that continues over time, there's a tendency that these young people could take up arms. It's a tendency that they could get into robbery because they want to leave.
Okay.
It's possible that they could go into drug trafficking because they want to find a way to make money.
Yeah.
To do this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
When these three vices exist in that community city, then there is insecurity. It means they could take enough guns and go for robbery. It means they could get involved in drugs, which sometimes could also lead them to crimes. So when these things exist, there's insecurity. But imagine that we are able to identify a project or an activity that could help these young people to become good entrepreneurs or have opportunity, to make ends meet. Then when you do that and bring them from that, unemployable state, that state of lawlessness, to a point where they see a future, they think that they can move on, then you have reduced, the tendency for insecurity, and that's a contribution to peace. So we're saying holistically that for each thing that we do, each action that we take to address a particular challenge is a contribution to peace. This is what JCI members have been doing over the years. But this year, we wanted to emphasize it, to say that we must all be proud to tell the world that we have been contributing to peace since 100 years ago. But more importantly, now we want to do it more, give it more visibility, do it with partners, do it in such a way that we connect the project that we do to how it contributes to peace. And that's what the campaign is about.
Okay, I'm really amazed because I think all throughout your JCI career, this has been your motto. And looking back at your experience in the national board, you had your detractors, and you tried to make peace with these people who didn't think that you can become the national president. Now looking back, now you're the world president, and looking back at the entire JCI journey, how would you describe it?
I'll say it's been an awesome journey.
Okay.
Not without downs, of course, up and downs. Not without some challenges. There have been a lot of challenges along the way. But the most important thing is about life is not about how many times you fall. It's how quickly you pick up the pieces, make amends, get stronger.
Yeah.
And ensure that when you see such obstacles in the future, you overcome them quickly. So every day you're not going back to your past. You're not falling on the same road again. If you have to fall, it has to be on a higher road, higher responsibility. So what that has done to me, it has made me a very balanced person. I have come to learn what it means to tolerate people, what it